Hello and welcome to Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast starring me, Raitan.
Right, Don?
Yep.
Okay.
AKA Tanner Greenring, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Josh Blim.
Driftblim.
AKA Joshua Fielstead.
Both
Welcome.
kind of a stretch.
I know, but like, what do you want from me? There's no new Pokemon, you know? Like, it's the same, like, Gen 1 through 4 Pokemon we've been dealing with for eons now.
Yeah, that's true. We know these guys inside and out.
It's a Pokemon podcast. We play through each Pokemon game, gym by gym, week by week, except right now we are not playing through each Pokemon game, gym by gym, week by week. We're in an interstitial season where we're playing through Pokemon Ranger :
Mission by mission, week by week.
Shadows of Almia. And to Josh's point, we are playing mission by mission, week by week. Except we're not even doing that,
No,
Josh,
we're doing 4 missions a week.
We're trying to keep this interstitial season brief and light and fun. So what that means for you is that you're hearing a brief, light, fun interstitial season. And what we're doing is playing grueling 40 hours of Pokemon every week.
Yeah, essentially.
Is it what it feels like? Because this game is long. And we're trying to pack it into 4 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know how long does it take to play or whatever that website is that was like, oh, it's 15 to 20 hours.
I feel like I'm getting through it at a pretty quick clip, and it's still taking me every free moment I have.
Apparently we are playing every quest, though, so I think we've accidentally, because we are both completionists, maybe we are going for 100%, and we don't have to do that, but...
Oh, I'm doing that. I also catch every Pokemon.
I've been catching all of them as well.
If I see a Pokemon I've never caught before, I'll go and catch it.
We'll have to compare our
dexes.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah. So yeah, we are on leg 3 this week, tackling missions 9 through 12. Yes. There are 16 total missions in this game, and then a whole complement of side quests, which this game just calls quests.
Yeah. And they range from a very simple, I think they are all fetch quests, but they range from the very simple to somewhat complex at this point. I don't know.
This week I prepped for one. I went into the quest screen and I saw that a guy in Town wanted a Driftblim. And I was in Boyleland.
Oh my god, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
I was like, okay, I'm already in Boyleland. I'll go find a Driftblim.
Yeah.
Went and found one. Brought it to the guy in Town. He was like, it was an old man. He was like, Ranger, I need your help. I need 3 Driftblim. I was like, fuck you, man.
That guy, I can't.
Where am I supposed to find 3 Driftblim?
It's crazy. You have to go to Boyleland. You have to go to the east side of the volcano. You have to get 2 Driftblim there. And to get that, I mean, this is what I did at least. I knew they were there because we had just done that.
Yeah.
But you have to get 1 Driftblim and then use that Driftblim to get up to the upper level of the volcano to get a Driftblim up there, then go back down and then do the leg again to get the other Driftblim that got you up there in the first place. And then I was like, where's another one? Chroma Ruins is what I remember.
Chroma Ruins, yeah. The Chroma Highlands and Chroma Ruins is filthy with them.
I guess maybe they're all there, but I had to go to 2 locations, burn through countless Staraptors.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, Joshua.
Oh my god. It was funny though at the end, the little joke where he and his wife just get picked up by the Driftblim. They were like, we always use Driftblim to move.
Yeah. Yeah, they just get carried away by 2 monstrous balloons.
Yeah, and then quest complete.
Quest complete. But that's not where we are.
No.
Joshua, we are in the Almia region.
That's right.
You'll have to excuse us, Bycatchers. We haven't played in a couple weeks or recorded in a couple weeks because Josh was on vacation.
I hardly call it that, but...
Last week, we were on the cargo ship saving Barlow.
Yes, so we were then summoned back to the Ranger Union for our good deeds, and now we're Almia's next top Rangers.
Oh, yeah, Keith. We and Keith are the youngest top Rangers in Pokemon Ranger history, I think.
That's right.
And everyone loves us. We're Golden Gods. We're Golden Gods.
Yeah, and we get a little bit more detail about the whole Ranger apparatus, which is that there are 12 in the whole world. 4 of them are in Almia, which implies Almia is kind of an out-of-control region.
What do you mean? There's four Rangers?
4 Rangers in Almia.
I've met like 8.
Top Rangers.
Top Rangers. Okay.
Yeah. And then we also get a fine styler upgrade, which has power charge, which I forgot about for like 2 missions, and then I remembered, and it's still not that much of an improvement. You can like hold it down, and then it charges up to do double damage.
As long as you know what every Pokemon's like first move is going to be.
Yeah, that's how you nail it.
Which like you can figure out pretty quickly. But as long as you don't get clipped by like a runaway like lightning bolt or something, you can really charge up. And then like here's the real God, I'm so good at this game. Here's the real thing about charging your styler is when you're facing off against a mon like Piloswine. Does Piloswine have a little version?
Swinub?
Yeah, Swinub. So if you're facing off against Piloswine does a thing where he shoots ice out of his mouth and then takes a brief break and then shoots ice again. And what you can do is you can hold down your styler while Piloswine's shooting the first blast of ice, give him one quick circle.
Yeah. Double damage, baby.
And then hold it down again for the second blast, and then just ram the circles around him. And then you got yourself a Piloswine. Not that you needed one.
I used one on that Obama Snow quest.
Oh, yeah. That is a good one.
But yeah, that's pretty much the only time you actually need one.
But they do give you a ton of XP, and they're really easy to catch.
Yeah, and they're like sitting right outside of Shiver Camp, which is great.
Yeah, they're just in the highlands or whatever. So, yeah, we'll get to all of that. This is all important.
We're just whetting your appetite.
Yeah, whetting.
Whetting your appetite.
You want to talk about Lockhart?
Yeah, we have to address a controversy that we stepped into.
I think I'm the one who said Lockhart was a bad guy, and you're like, oh, I don't think he's a bad guy.
I couldn't remember Bugcatchers. I have read all the Harry Potter books, and I've seen all the movies, but only once all of it, and not for a while at this point. So I was just skimming the Harry Potter.
That's more than most
fandom wiki.
You've experienced the story twice in 2 different mediums.
Sure.
You should know it.
It was unclear to me in the passage of time that Lockhart is bad.
Here's the thing, Josh. I've read Beowulf, and I've seen the Robert Zemeckis Beowulf movie, but I saw it when it came out in like 2002. You know what I can tell you?
What?
Grendel's a bad guy.
Yeah, well, that's obvious.
I know that.
I guess I fell under Lockhart's
oldest story in the
because
world.
He's got all of his memory charms, and I guess that I got charmed. Yeah. Just like Mr. Kincaid charmed us. And
Lockhart's a bad guy.
I'll give, Tanner's right on this one, and respete to our friend Mike Levine for calling us out on this. Somebody has to tell us when we're wrong, you know?
Played by the inimitable.
Now you're trying to, like, don't go too far, Tanner. You're not going to get this right off the top of your head.
It's right there. Kenneth Branagh.
That's right.
Should we do a Wild Wild West podcast?
I don't feel like there isn't really that much to run with.
It's got legs. That's got legs.
Yeah,
unlike the guy in Wild Wild West, right?
All right, there.
The
that
bad
was a
guy.
better joke than mine.
He's got like a robot body. I think that's what you just said.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about the big creature he travels around into. Anyway, that's the Wild West podcast.
Let's look at his background. Let's check out his IMDb.
Kenneth Branagh?
He was Loveless. He was the legless guy in Wild Wild West.
Okay.
What a performance.
So yeah, that's what I was talking about. Where
he's got a robot penis. It's heavily implied.
Oh, I think that's true.
That he has a robot penis.
Yeah, I now we'll be addressing this controversy.
We got to get off
week.
Kenneth Branagh. We have to get on this game.
Yeah, we got a lot to cover here. But we can cover the ground faster because on our way to become top rangers, how about this segue? On the way to become top rangers, when chairperson Irma calls us out.
All right, you're getting way ahead of yourself.
Well, no, because we start this after Barlow, and
no, we have to talk about Barlow because we did some shit.
Didn't we already cover
saved Barlow, and then we rammed the boat into the ranger school.
Okay, yeah.
We stopped at saving Barlow.
Yeah, speaking of getting around quickly, what we did was just ram a boat into the ranger school. So you can use that transition.
The Square of Ascension, the like little outdoor area where we had outdoor class, just a few weeks ago. We've now rammed a capital ship into it.
Yeah.
So now that's there forever. I went back and visited at one point. It's just there.
Yeah, it stays as a set piece.
Part of the landscape now.
They're going to be putting some more classrooms in there, I heard.
Did you, when you were a kid, did your elementary school run out of room so you bought trailers and had trailers in like the playground where you would sometimes go out and do classes?
No, but my college did. So
That's such a strange phenomenon that I feel like is so common.
yeah.
So we ram a boat into the school, and then that's just that storyline is resolved. They're like, "Thank you, you're a hero."
Yeah.
It's funny. I seem to remember a news story from earlier this summer where someone rammed a boat into the Suez Canal, and they were not considered a hero.
I think we all enjoyed it, though.
It was a massive farce.
It's probably part of the reason that we're dealing with supply chain issues now, also. Yeah. But it was fun to make fun of that boat for a couple of weeks.
I have coworkers again for the first time in many months.
Humble brag.
And I was trying to pitch them on like a piece of content that was about the Evergrande. And neither of these two young people who were in their early 20s had heard about it
at all.
Not even a little bit. And I was like, oh, it was so much fun. We were all having so much fun, like making memes about it. And they're like, oh, we haven't heard of that.
What? And
I realized, like,
was it just a Twitter joke and none of them are on Twitter?
Yeah, you and I are old, Josh. We're two men in our 30s. Like I think making memes about the Evergrande on Twitter is a uniquely like 30-something bit of cultural touchstone. I think the youth, these kids in their 20s are like, I don't know what they're doing. They're like wearing silly bands and like having casual sex or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not for me.
No, I prefer to make jokes about, I mean, it's a giant ship that was stuck in the canal. It disrupted all of trade for weeks, and it was called the Ever Given, which is even funny. Like, it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't give any fucks. That's the whole thing.
You're telling me, man. You're telling me. Tell it to these two 22-year-olds I work with.
And any of our listeners who don't know about this.
Yeah, read a fucking book.
Shit.
Read a fucking newspaper. So, we did that. We did the Ever Given. Right there in the school. But no one seemed to give a shit because they just then made us...
No, we were rewarded.
The biggest stars in the Pokemon
I think
Ranger
Barlow
world.
technically is the one who beached it, so maybe he's out. Because I haven't seen him again.
He does seem out. Yeah,
I haven't seen him again.
Yeah, he's... Now our dude is Sven.
Right.
Which is mission number 9, which is where we're starting.
Sven's an upgrade, by the way.
Sven is a disaster. Sven wears a vest and a trilby. And you like him.
Upgrade.
You're like, he's cool. You look at Sven, who's in a vest and a trilby, and you're like, cool.
Yeah.
That's my vision of cool.
That's what I want to be when I am a even topper ranger. You only get the more advanced of a ranger you are, the weirder and cooler hats you get.
It feels very 2000. It feels very Tokyo Hotel. Just like all this accoutrement.
The whole leg did, really.
Yeah, that's what we were all doing in the mid 2000s. We were just accessorizing. How much shit can I pack on my body?
That's what this whole game's about.
Black spiky hair. I need a wallet chain. I need a vest. I need a pocket watch. I need a trilby hat.
A styler.
Wristbands.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we?
They
We're
make
in Pokemon.
Justin Bieber
Sven.
silly bands now.
So we've been sent to the ruins.
Okay. Yeah.
In the Chroma Highlands.
Yes.
To seek out Sven, the star Pokemon Ranger. Because Keith and I, and you, Keith, Tokyo Hotel.
Yeah.
And what's your character's name? Galas are all top rangers now.
We got to help our butt out.
Yeah, Sven has sent a missive back to the Pokemon HQ, the Union, the Ranger Union, that he needs some help out in the Chroma ruins.
Because there's like a dark mist that's taking it all over, and he just can't find his way out of the damn place.
A dark, choking mist that if you walk in for too long will slowly eat away at your HP.
Yeah, hated that. Although it is only one every, like, couple of seconds. But
Except you're also constantly being attacked by Pokemon. It's packed.
Yeah.
The entire area is just packed with Pokemon.
Ponyta's running around. There's those Carnivines that will leap.
They will just jump at you.
And they do damage if they hit you. There's a Bastiodon running around up there.
Yeah.
It's a shit show.
Yeah, it's tough.
And, of course, there's a bunch of Team Dim Sum members who will sick Pokemon on you with their dang mini Remos also.
Yeah.
And, of course, who do you think is behind all this mist?
It's Team Dim Sum.
Yeah, because they like a dim sun. They did it literally right now.
Dang it. Didn't they?
Yeah.
Dang it. So yeah, you make your way through the Chroma Highlands, and eventually making your way to the Chroma Ruins to find your way to Sven, who is deep within the Chroma Ruins. There's a few different overworld mechanics you need to deploy to get there.
Yeah.
Previously, we had met Driftbloom, who will help us kind of carry us over volcanic vents.
Right.
But this week, the real main character of the Chroma Highlands is Driftblim, the evolution of Driftbloom, who will carry you between levels, like, basement 1 to level 1, essentially. Right. So that's the real mechanic this week. And then also there are psychic doors, and you need to catch Hypnos.
Yeah, and the Hypnos, like, teleport around. They're also...
Hypnos are tough.
Yeah, they're really tough. And you use sand shrews. There would be little patches of circular dirt in the ground in the Chroma Ruins, and you need to use sand shrews to dig it, and then it exposes a hole, and then you can either fall down the hole and then get a Driftblim once you're on the other level to go up it. So there's a lot of things going on in here.
There's a lot going on here, but eventually you can make your way through all the psychic doors and the holes and the piles of sand that you have to dig through. And you find Sven, and he's here, and he has a little trilby on, and he's got a vest on, and he looks very much like a pickup artist from the mid-2000s. Peacocking.
I'd say that's about right.
Yeah.
I mean, I got peacocked. I was already swooning about him earlier. I fell for his tricks.
He got you. Did he nag you? He's like, yeah. You should wear less makeup.
That's the name of his
Makes you
game.
look really ugly. I don't know how negging works. I'm not a pickup artist.
That's good. Neither of us is a pickup artist, so we'll just clear the air on that one. That wasn't already clear.
So Sven is down here, the pickup artist.
Sven is inevitably canceled by now.
Oh yeah, Sven sucks. And he explains that they're harvesting. Is this where they're harvesting rock? God, it's such a long leg.
There's a lot of different types of minerals that they harvest. Here they're harvesting what turns out to be the shadow crystal.
Yes. So there's a cave full of shadow crystals, which is what is powering the mini Remo machines. And you need to get a big stinky Pokemon to drive them all out with stinky stench.
This is one of the funniest parts of the game, where there's just like a room full of Team Dinsun minions, and they're all like roaming around trying to like mine the shadow crystal and figure out how to get it out of there. And then Sven's just like, we're gonna need something stinky to get rid of all these people. And then it turns out there's
what a stroke of genius, Sven. How could you have possibly known that even in this very cave there is a small alcove with a
stun tank in it.
Yeah, a Trumpy little stun tank.
So Trumpy, and it stinks.
With his little Trumpy haircut. Yeah.
Just the same.
Yeah, and it drives all the Team Dimsun idiots out.
You send it into the room after capturing it, and then it just turns the whole screen purple, and then they're all doing the little sweatbands thing, and then just like running around, and then they all fall down a hole, I think.
I think they just run off screen.
But then you got the whole thing for yourself.
Yeah. So they all flee, but then there is still another creature here that is protecting the spirit.
The shadow
stone,
crystal.
The shadow crystal, which is Spirit Tomb.
Oh, yeah.
A big swirly monster ghost boy.
Yeah, we're troubled by these things on the show. We have been a few times.
Spirit Tombs.
I didn't die to it, but it is obnoxious because it operates sort of like a barnacle where like it has little rocks that it has possessed, and then its head will pop out of them. And then it's like whack-a-mole, but you're trying to like circle them whenever it comes out.
There's 5 little points on the map that you have to figure out. And each time he pops up on a different point, he does a different move.
Yeah.
Some of the moves are pretty easy to predict and work around. Some are like impossible. He does this one where he does this little like dancing flame that will kind of hop around the screen.
That. Yeah.
God, it's so hard because he'll just like it'll maneuver in the exact right way that it interferes with your styler. So
right.
I didn't die either, but he was kind of a pain in the hiney.
Yeah.
And then once we're done with the Chroma Highlands, we come up above ground and we find ourselves in an abandoned facility.
Yeah. It's got a couple of like oil canisters, but it's all run down. And then I thought this part was pretty cool. There's like a little board outside of it, and it's basically saying that this is the original like Altru Inc. aka
this is where it started. It's like
Altru building.
Steve Jobs
the garage. Mountain View.
In Mountain View. This is where the big oil empire got its start. This game really wants you to like celebrate this awful like polluting oil company.
Those innovators over at Ultra Inc. who made all their money from extracting fossil fuels from Almia. Yeah. And then you go in to like investigate it. I do think it's relatively like progressive of them at this point to be making what seems to be the corrupt entity in this game is going to be a former like big oil company.
We'll see. Because I don't know, man. Like they have yet to really set. Oh,
you think they're going to turn out good?
At this point, it's just like, man, you guys got to start working on Altro being the evil empire in this game, or else, like, you're just celebrating an oil company.
Yeah, like, good thing this is a couple of years before the BP oil spill. Like, but you do read in the there's like a burned diary inside the shack, and it's detailing how there are all these oil reserves around Almia, but they're all starting to run out. And the company's running out of money, but then they've discovered these shadow crystals. And for whatever reason, they then begin to believe that this will be a new type of energy source that will bail out the company from all of its financial troubles.
Yep. You also meet a character called... Well, you don't meet. You've already met him. You encounter a character called Pont.
Oh, yeah, who I don't remember at all, but...
I don't either, but he says that he went to ranger school with you. And apparently he was called the Conflicted Marshmallow Boy. Which feels like a... mistranslation,
definitely
at best, because I don't know what it means.
But I guess he almost went down the dark path.
Now after graduating from ranger school, he went to go join Team Dim Sun, but he does not like it. So
other than their outfits, which he's still wearing.
Yeah, so he fled to this abandoned shack and is living here now. And is happy that you've encountered him.
And he comments specifically that he's like, well, it's got a place to sleep and a toilet, so I'm happy.
This game really wants you to...
emerges from the bathroom when we meet him.
This game really wants you to sympathize with Dim Sum, especially in this leg. And we'll get to it later. I have a whole new segment about it.
Oh, wow.
I'm not ready to activate it quite yet.
Okay.
So yeah, the mission now is to bring the burned diary back to the Ranger Union, so that whatever Dr. Scientist or whatever his name is,
Dr. Hastings,
Dr. Hastings,
Dr. Scientist is just as good of a name.
Decipher it and help kind of get to the bottom of this big mystery. So you leave the Pokemon, you drop off the diary, and you encounter the hottest rock band in all of Almia.
Oh yeah, they're like rehearsing out front of Altru's building
in Altru Plaza. The Go Rock Squad, and they're my trainer banger this week.
Oh, Go Rock Quad.
Yeah, sorry, the Go Rock Quad, which at this point is only a trio.
Yeah, they got a whole bit. I think they're just singing about how they think every band needs 4 members and being a quad is so much better than a trio. But then you're like, wait a second.
There's only 3.
I know how to count. Yeah, they do have really cool animations. They're look
cool.
Slick.
Their sprites look great. Their animations look great. One of them is a drum player. One of them is a guitar player. One of them is a violinist.
They're missing their like lead singer, I think, Clyde.
They also look like pickup artists. They look like Tokyo Hotel. They look like if Tokyo Hotel was in this game. They're so cool. They're anti-establishment. We learn later that they're very like anti-establishment. They're very punk rock. They
don't want to sing some sponsored song by
they've been
Altru.
Commissioned by Altru to write like a jingle, and they've decided to like subvert it. And they're like Yimu Zhang, like taking down the Chinese government in the 1980s.
Hell yeah.
They're great. I love the Go Rock Quad.
Yeah, me too. I was really enjoying that little segment.
Yeah.
And it was like very unclear. You like can talk to the people afterwards and you're like, are you giving me a mission? And no, you just keep walking, like, just keep on moving.
No, they're just in it for the love of the music. They don't care about any of this other stuff.
Yeah.
You know? You understand how the Shadow Crystal is going to solve the energy crisis?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't. It's very unclear how they're like extracting. I know they use the Shadow Crystal hunks to power the Gigarimos and the Mini Remos.
Yeah.
But where that goes to then
Right.
solve the region's dependence on petroleum. A little unclear.
Yeah, it's
Do
very
you know?
unclear.
You know,
No.
Tanner?
No, I don't know, but we do, in the process of deciphering the burned journal, we've discovered that Murph, the like
PR
hapless
guy. Yeah.
like researcher at the union, the Ranger Union, has been wearing this little blue crystal around his neck, and
Right.
it resonates with some machine that Dr. Scientist has.
Yeah.
And we discover that we need to go and collect gems.
Yeah, Dr. Scientist puts it together real quick, and he's like, wait, where'd you get that pendant with the little blue gem
Suddenly,
in it? And
it's a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, and this
we
is
need
where...
to go on fetch quests to get gems.
And Murph's like, oh, I don't know, my dad, Palmer...
My dad, whose name is
gave it
my
to me.
name, sort of backwards.
Yeah, like my same letters, but messed up. Gave it to me as just like a good luck charm, and he's a researcher out in Haya Valley.
Yeah,
and
which is the icy part of the map.
And then I think Chairperson Irma then tells us this whole the three princes thing comes back into play. So I'm glad we covered that.
1, 2, 3 princes stand before you, and each of them has a crystal.
And one is red, and one is yellow, and one is blue.
Yep. So our job now is to go and find the blue
tiers
gem.
of princes is what they're called.
The blue tier of prince.
Yeah. So we're looking for a blue prince, maybe.
So we've been
Or at
sent to
least
the
a gem
Hyla,
that he wanted.
the Haya Valley,
Yeah.
to meet up with Murph's dad,
Which is the snowy one.
Palmer.
Palmer?
Pamer. I don't know. We've also ranked up,
We have.
and we've got access to a new overworld ability, don't we, Josh?
Oh, yeah.
Fast travel ability. Tell me about it.
Where we can hop into the...
After
hop
this
onto a water.
break.
Sweat, lift, sprint, and more in the all-new Reebok Nano X4 training shoe. As the official shoe of fitness, the redesigned Nano X4 is one of the most breathable, lightweight, and stable iterations of the award-winning Nano yet. Basically, everything you like about a training shoe, improved. Everything you didn't, removed. The Reebok Nano X4, available now. Visit Reebok.com to learn more.
So, Joshua, tell me about your new ability.
It's a sweet new ability. It's called River Flow. And
I'm not talking about river flow. I'm talking about fly.
Well, we already... oh, God. Okay.
Fly is a new ability this week.
I talked about Fly already.
No, we didn't.
Way up front. When we get whisked away by Wendy, our friend, apparently, Chairperson Irma sends her over. And you can ride Staraptors now. Very handsome mon, if we talked about.
You can ride Staraptors, and they will fly you to any Poké Center, essentially.
Yeah, it's like in the newer generations of Pokemon games where you don't need to have an HM friend. You just summon a mon who comes to you. You have to capture every Staraptor, but there is a Staraptor that's conveniently placed outside of every major landmark.
Yeah, they're everywhere. It's just like it's right when they introduced Duos.
Duos.
Doduos?
You really struggle with that one.
Right when they introduced Doduos, all of a sudden Doduos were everywhere, and now they've introduced Staraptors as like your fly option, and everywhere you go, there's a Staraptor.
I mean, so we can fly around now, but we're going to a new area.
Yeah.
There's like this dock to the south of the Union Road that the whole time you would walk by it and you get a little question mark on your head, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, an Empoleon or a Weasel could do this. And I'm like, well, I don't see any.
Yeah,
and then, of
Floatzel.
course, after Chairperson Irma's like, we're going to need you to go out there to that Haya Valley. Oh, look, here's a Floatzel.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden there's always a Floatzel by any of those docks. This game, I still like this game a lot, but they are a little on the nose with like, eventually you have to use Torkles to get across lava, and there's always a Torkoal right where you need it. The Drifblims are always right where you need them.
Yeah.
So they do not make this sort of like HM friend function all that difficult to figure out or maneuver around.
Yeah, I'll give it, a pro is that Mon is always conveniently right next to the thing, but the con is you have to capture these fuckers so many times, especially when you're doing the fetch quests.
Yeah, and we've been sent on quite a fetch quest, haven't we, Josh?
Yeah.
We've been sent to Almia Castle, the ruins of Almia Castle in the frigid Hia Highlands.
They say
Hia Valley.
They say that it is encased in ice, and it's as cold as ice.
Yeah.
You know, I went to an ice hotel when I was in Stockholm.
Sweden? Yeah, that makes sense.
It's great. You just hang out. Well, this was an ice bar. I can't remember if they had a hotel as well.
Almia Castle does not have a bar, at least not apparently.
Unfortunately.
I scoured the place looking for one. They did not have one.
It does have a lot of fun set pieces, though, with like dining tables, and there's like a cook's quarters, and
it doesn't look all that abandoned. It's in pretty good condition, except for the fact that it's like swarming with Pokemon.
Hunters and snow runts in particular.
Ghosts. Yeah, that's weird. It's swarming with ghosts.
But before we get there, we had to go to the Shiver Camp.
Shiver Camp in the Hia Valley. Hia.
I was saying Hia because I like it. It's like Hia Valley.
Yeah.
That's very Minnesotan. Hia Valley.
It is very Minnesotan. Yeah. So this is where we meet Murph's dad. Backwards Murph.
Pammer.
Mostly he just complains about how cold it is up there, which, duh, buddy, you're in the Arctic.
I know. Why'd you sign up for this research project then?
Yeah, go to the Bahamas.
Right.
And you can do a couple quests up here. You have to maneuver your way around some overworld, like obstacle puzzles.
I mean, the main one we should talk about is this Ice Lake one, right? Is that where you're going?
Yeah, the Ice Lake is pretty rough.
That was really rough.
Ride on the back of Empoleon.
Yeah.
Through some
chilly waters that have flows that speed you up, and then icebergs are kind of like, the maze aspect, but then there's
whirlpools, and if you get stuck in a whirlpool, you get shot back to the beginning of the puzzle, and all the
and it's like
the icebergs reset.
3 screens long, this thing. So you can make it all the way to the end and get sent all the way back.
I have a note later when we talk about Wailord that this game is really good at scale.
Oh, I completely agree with that.
But one of the problems with this is like it is the classic like SNES 16-bit era like JRPG presentation. So the scale of like the characters and the world is a little bit bigger. You're not a single block in like a fairly condensed world like every other Pokemon game. It's a big world. You're a big character. There's lots to explore. So the view in your tiny little bottom screen is fairly limited, which they use to great effect sometimes and then to ill effect other times. And I would say that this ice flow puzzle they use to pretty ill effect. They just like sort of use the limitations of the screen to confuse you and get you stuck in whirlpools.
Yeah, especially when you're like initially figuring out the size, speaking of the Empoleon, where it's like, is this thing 2 squares or is it 4? And it's like basically 4.
It is 4,
and you have to navigate it very specifically, similar to that Sharpedo puzzle last time.
Right.
Where you need to nail these flows and then not deviate at all, because it isn't like a mainline, first few generations of Pokemon games where you're stuck in a square.
Right.
You can just use you can move the joystick just slightly too much, and then you're sucked into a whirlpool.
Well, and to complicate matters is the flows, the like rapids, aren't even all that reliable. So like you can hit one and like if you're not like right dead center in the thing, it won't activate the like speed boost that you need to get through the glaciers. So you'll just get stuck on glaciers, and like all there is on either side of the glacier is whirlpools. So you just get sucked out, and it's not your fault. It's the game's fault because like it can't trigger the like speed up animation well enough. So
I spent a unfortunate amount of time here, I would say.
And it's a maze.
Lake. Yeah.
And it's a maze.
Right. So there's only one path that gets you to the Almia Castle.
There's only one path that gets you to the Almia Castle, but you need to take another path to get the Pokemon you need to clear the puzzle to get into Almia, the
That's
castle.
True. Also a good point.
I don't even remember who it is. Is it Abomasnow?
No, you can get Abomasnow, but that's just a quest.
That's a quest. Yeah.
That was annoying too, because they will often I've discovered now, after the main quest, they'll open up the whole area, and then you get quests there, and you'll have to do these things again, like Luminion last time, and then this leg is Abomasnow, where a researcher needs to like check out Abomasnow for whatever reason in Shiver Camp, and you have to do this maze again, but figure out where Abomasnow is in it.
Right.
And that's where you need Piloswine to ram through and wake them up, because it looks like a big pile of snow, and then it's an Abomasnow in it. So it's like, it's clever how they do that, but it's also like, I don't want to ever do this like maze ever again.
Yeah, they make you do
life.
the mazes over and over.
You usually have to do
again.
each of them twice if you want.
Sometimes
complete it twice at least to do both the main quest and the side quest.
I had to go through Boyleland Volcano at least 3 times.
Oh, yeah, they put a ton of quests in there.
Yeah,
I hated that place at the end of it.
But we'll get there in a minute. First, we are here in the Almia Castle. It's an ice castle here in the frigid north. We are equipped with everything we need to navigate this place. It's full of haunters. It's full of snovers. It's full of glace... Vulpixes. What's the hockey puck guy called? I think he's Snover's evolution. Or not Snover's.
Snorunt.
Snorunt's evolution.
Oh, Glalie in here.
Glalie,
Yeah. And then there's some exotic, just fun stuff. Like there's Scythers.
There's just a random Scyther.
The Scyther is, and I kept him around for a while because
you expect it to be useful because he's in the middle, like he's in the ice
and he's
palace.
like a cut 3 is his,
but he doesn't ever come into play.
Overworld ability. No, he just hops around and they abuse you.
Yeah,
you basically can't avoid them, and they'll swipe at your character and just do 3 damage. Also,
yeah, this is like a new. I think this is new. This leg is now the overworld sprites. The overworld.
Well, Gligar did it for the first time, but.
Right, exactly. And he was just kind of knocking you off the wall. But now, like, they'll just jump at you and do damage.
Yeah, Piloswines ram you.
The
Carnivines,
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a new thing, and it does damage to, like,
and Haunters. Haunters will sort of, like, chase you down through this whole...
Haunters are basically unavoidable.
And they're such a pain in the ass to catch.
I fled from them, too. And what you discover is that Team Dimsun is in here, and they are looking for this gem as well, the blue gem. But as soon as you enter Almia Castle, they've got minions who come out from the east and west wings, and they're telling the, like, admin, like, there's nothing here, boss. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess it's done. And they all leave. And then you're just left, to figure it out. And
well, they've left someone behind, which is this character called Ice.
Yeah. He's as cold as ice.
He looks like if Sonic the Hedgehog was a human.
Absolutely.
He's got like big blue spiky hair. He's got a bad attitude.
Yeah.
And he is guarding the blue gem. Well, he's the human guarding the blue gem.
Yeah, he's like
guarding the gate.
Boss here.
Yeah, in front of the blue gem, and he will sick a frost lass on you, which was pretty easy.
Yeah, that wasn't that bad.
But then you need to. There's 2 statues here at the end of Almia Castle and a force field, and you need to figure out the puzzle to make your way through this force field. And in the preceding room, there was an ice puzzle where you slip and slide over chasms, and if you fall off the side, you
go down to the cook's quarters,
essentially
or
the
something.
entrance of the entire thing.
Yeah.
But you have to make your way to the side corridors to get 2 Riolus.
Yeah. Which it in retrospect, I mean, I had a Jinx at the time when I first went up to the force field. So I was like, oh, maybe Jinx, maybe it's psychic.
The puzzle is bring 2 blue Pokemon. They make the puzzles exceedingly simple in this game.
Yeah, it had a Riolu earlier, and so I was like, oh wait, that's what I'm gonna need. But you need 2 of them specifically.
Yeah, this is not the first time that you need 2 of the same Pokemon to get through a puzzle, but it is the first time. It's not the last time. So you bring 2 Riolus to the end here, and you dissolve the force field, and then you go face the Gem Guardian. But before we talk about the Gem Guardian, you just brought up a Pokemon that I want to discuss briefly because it's my You Make Me Barf Pokemon of the game.
We need to talk about it.
Of the week, and maybe of the game.
Yeah. Is it Jinx?
This castle is swimming with Jinx.
Oh my god.
And I know Jinx is an old punching bag of ours. And has been in You Make Me Barf Pokemon many times. But the sprite in this game.
It's unreal.
It's so horrifying. It's Jinx. It's the Jinx you know and love, except now it's fully animated, and it does this thing where it holds its hands above its head.
Yeah.
And it shakes its whole body and its
like
hands,
flails
and it's like
them around.
Blonde hair is like flopping around too, and it's like,
and its eyes are going everywhere.
And that's just how it locomotes. That's how it moves.
That's
how it moves around
movement.
the level.
Yeah, it's
that's
not
just
like
how
it's using
that's how
a
a
move.
Jinx walks.
Yeah.
It's so gross and so weird. I hope I didn't catch. You know what? I didn't catch a video of it, but I'm gonna go back and get one.
Yeah, we're gonna need to put a video up of this
so that we can post it on the subreddit because it's so ugly.
Yeah,
that's my You Make Me Barf this week, Jinx.
I agree.
I know it's basic, but it deserves.
But they did it in a new way. It's like a new type of way of making you barf.
Yeah, they've outdone themselves.
Every time you think you're out, and Jinx is we don't have to talk about Jinx.
Every time
again.
my stomach settles, they
bring
show
out a
me
new
an
Jinx.
ugly new Jinx.
Yeah.
And I'm barfing anew. So yeah, you beat Sonic the Hedgehog, and then you get the 2 Riolus to drop the force field. And who is it on the other side protecting the gem? Of course.
It's their daddy.
It's Daddy.
Lucario.
Yeah. It struck me this week. I was looking. So each of these boss battles has a fun little splash screen when you enter the battle.
Yeah.
Where they show like a art of the bad guy.
Right.
And Riolu's looks good.
Oh yeah.
I see why there's so much fan art of his.
Yeah.
On Fur Affinity.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Riolu's kind of a OP, like all the major like pro Pokemon players have a Riolu on their team, right?
Well, or Lucario, you mean?
Sorry, Lucario. Yes.
Yeah. Lucario has been top tier, I think, if not entirely, most of the time that it's been around. It's also good in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah. I have a theory that Lucario's body type, especially in this game, looks very much like a Mewtwo. Like he's got the same basic body type. Is Mewtwo a failed prototype for Lucario?
First of all, I have to say the reason that I hate Super Smash Bros. Brawl specifically is that's when they brought in Lucario and they did not bring back Mewtwo. And Lucario in that game, yeah, they did. Mewtwo is better. First of all,
here's what I'm positing is that they're the same Pokemon. Mewtwo is a failed prototype.
Basically, the fighting
Lucario.
Steel type version of Mewtwo. I totally see it.
They look so similar. I mean, except Lucario looks like a dog and Mewtwo looks like a fucking disaster.
But they're both bipedal. They both have big hips.
Yeah, they got their big knobby hips.
Tails and like weird stuff sticking off their heads.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to do a quick scan. I don't think that there is any actual relation, but on this trivia here.
Sure. I'll do a quick scan too.
Not
for
the website that you think you need to go to. We can't do 2 for affinity checks in a row.
Here we are.
It's already dwindling numbers.
We are,
the
Josh.
interstitials.
I'm going to do a search for Lucario X Mewtwo.
Plus, haven't we done that before? Lucario?
I want to see Lucario.
It's just so obvious.
Josh, will you let me get a fucking word in edgewise? I want to see Lucario having sex with Mew too. Okay?
Lucario that makes sense based on the Egyptian god of funerals and the dead, Anubis.
Yeah, it does look like Anubis. Okay, interesting. I'm finding some fun art.
What do their genitals, where are they and what do they come out of?
Unclear. Here's what I know. Lucario likes eating Mewtwo whole.
Oh.
And his belly is big and full of Mewtwo. Here's another thing I know.
Oh, like Lucario... a wolf actually eating it, you mean? Or eating
No, like
whole?
Sexually eating it.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's another thing I know. They love showing their feet and little toes off.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to assume that if I dug any deeper into this query, I would almost certainly find a picture of Lucario and Mewtwo wearing diapers because
that seems
I've become quite a Fur Affinity aficionado, and that is always the inevitable. It's like the heat death of the universe, you know?
Yeah.
You're always going to find a picture of a Pokemon wearing a diaper.
Those are the only 2 things that you can count on. Pictures of every Pokemon.
Mark Twain said it was death and taxes, but the The saying has been updated. Now it's the heat death of the universe and Lucario in diapers.
Oh, and I'm even seeing Mewtwo X's tail getting used in a pretty interesting way.
Yuck. Yucky. So yeah, you beat Lucario and you claim the blue gem and you bring it back to the Ranger Union for Professor Scientist to take a look at. And it has an effect. You know, it has a dulling effect on the Shadow Crystal, but not quite enough of one, right?
What did you just say?
I
was still
said,
looking at this art.
You bring the blue crystal back to the Ranger Union, and we discover through some sophisticated machinations that the blue gem is able to dull the power of the Shadow Crystal.
It dulls it by a third.
1/3. So we have to suspect that there are 2 other gems out there that will fully negate the power of the Shadow Crystals. And there happens to be 2 Ranger/operators here in the building wearing small mementos, a red gem and a yellow gem. And they start glowing and pulsing. So we know that what we're looking for is a red gem and a yellow gem.
Yeah, I'd love to know how all of these people got hunks of a very precious gem.
They tell
casually.
you. They tell you. They're pretty explicit.
It's always like their
souvenirs.
grandparents or something, or like souvenirs.
Well, no, you know what? It's all 3 of them. It's Sven. Sven has found little crystals.
Oh, Sven gave it to these 2 women.
It to all
and they
3
fight,
of them, I think.
No.
Oh, no. Murph got it from his dad.
Murph got it from his dad.
Right.
But
Linda,
that's right. The
Linda
2 ladies
and Rhythmy both got little souvenirs from this.
From Sven, and they actually do a little shoving contest over like, well, mine's bigger, but mine's prettier, or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my god.
So our next mission is to chase down the red gem, which we suspect is in Boyleland, which is the big volcano, the fire level, the lava level. It's like Breath of the Wild over here.
Yeah, it's like, oh, so you think that the red gem is over in the volcano area?
The big volcano.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We got Gorons
so we go
over
there.
there.
Yeah, we go there. There's an elder here in Boyland Village who seems addled, seems confused.
Oh yeah, Mime Jr.'s owner.
There's 2 Boyland volcanoes, and we only have access to the west entrance at this point. And now we're going into the east entrance this time. The elder, who's Mime Jr. we have saved,
right,
has given us the keys to the east entrance finally. And instead of using drift balloons to like make your way across the air vents, the heat vents, we're now using drift blims to make our way through the different levels.
Yeah.
The main mechanic is using torque holes in the same way that we use floatzuls to swim through lava.
Yeah. It still seems like, I get it riding around on the back of a floatzel or an Empoleon, but riding around the back of a Torkoal in magma
seems a little
without
dangerous.
Different outfit or anything, that feels a little inconceivable.
Yeah, at least Link had that like lava outfit when he went to go visit the what are they called?
The Gorons. Well, Death Mountain.
The Gorons. Yeah.
Yeah.
The rock.
Yeah, we got nothing. And we don't, like, when we went underwater, we had the, whatever you said, Qui-Gon Jinn's.
Yeah, the rebreather.
Rebreather. The Aqua Lung.
Yeah.
And this time it's just us on the back of a Torkoal, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I do like, the Torkoal was a nice design, I will also say.
Torkoal looks good.
Like, its back is always spewing the smoke, and it just looks chill. Its eyes are closed, and he doesn't care walking around in magma.
Yeah, this whole section is really good. The other kind of main thing we have to defeat is walls of flame, and there are a few Pelipers in the area who will help you take out the big walls of flame. And then smoldering boulders. And this is where it gets interesting, because now we're introduced to our first 2 Pokemon overworld puzzle. God.
Yeah.
Because it's a big boulder that's on fire. So first you need a Pelipper or something.
A Gastrodon.
Yeah, Gastrodon. To put out the fire. And then you need a big, strong Pokemon to blast away the rock.
Yeah, there's like Hariyamas, Agrons, and Rhydons, and all of them can crush the boulder once it's not flaming.
And this is where the scale of this game gets so interesting. It's where you finally, like... It's the first time a Pokemon game has made it clear that, like, Pokemon like Hariyama and Aggron and Rhydon, how big they are.
Yeah, they're actually much larger than your sprite and all of the other Pokemon.
They're enormous. They're like 4 times the size of your sprite.
When I first saw that Aggron, I was scared.
Huge.
I was scared.
Was
and
enormous.
They ram you, and they do like 5 damage.
Yeah, they're huge. I think it's so good. It's so interesting to see, like, you sort of vaguely understand the scale of these Pokemon while you're playing through, like, main canon Pokemon games. And, of course, like, when you go and look up the Pokedex entries, you're like, okay, like, oh, it's weird that Dunsparce is, whatever, 5 feet long.
Yeah.
But then when you get in here, and it's like, of course Aggron is going to be a like 12-foot long, like, dinosaur. Of course he is. And then you see him, and it's like, oh, it's a 12-foot high dinosaur, you know? It looks so, like, convincing.
Yeah,
and it's scary.
Their
it's like
sprites
intimidating.
Are still so detailed. It looked cool.
When you approach that like Rhydon in the middle of like the big
the
fire
flame pit
patch,
yeah. That
it's
was
like,
scary.
It's scary. You're like you like don't know where to go or what to do.
There's this one path where little flame. This is again very Zelda. Like the flames will come out of the ground periodically, and you have to time your run. But there's one part where they've got a Rhydon hidden in the like flames, and when you first come up to it, you don't know that. I couldn't even tell that it was there, and then a second later, I'm rammed by this Rhydon, and then I look at the thing, and it's taking up all the screen, and I'm terrified.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, they in the battles they battle just like any other Pokemon. Yeah. But once you have them on your team, it's cool. Then they follow you around.
Yeah, at one point it's fun when you have like, I mean, always a Raichu, of course, but because now we get Raichus also. It's our new recharger for
40 points.
Styler. At one point I had a Raichu by default, and then Aggron, Rhydon, and Hariyama. Yeah. And then you just got all these big, beefy Pokemon just hanging out. It's fun.
Well, I guess we should address it now then, because you've listed quite a team there, Joshua.
Yeah.
Do we want to do
about,
level
I think
check?
At this point, we're up to 5 friend Pokemon plus the partner. We got upgraded at one point. We're going to get upgraded again, which is wild. And then, yes, I did change my partner Pokemon at one point.
I did too. Let's do level check first. So I ended this leg at level 32 and rank 7.
Right, okay.
I'm level 7 now, and I have access to 6 friend Pokemon.
Okay, yeah. At the end of this, we get access to 6 plus our partner Pokemon, and
I am level 32. And Josh, what level are you?
I'm level 30, and
sad. Pathetic.
I think it's about time that we start looking into whether or not you're a May or cheat.
Throwing around accusations. You think it's time to start throwing around?
It's time to start
baseless
throwing around accusations. Yeah,
accusations.
Baseless. I've done all the quests. Same as you.
Yeah.
I fight most of them. I mean, I collect every Mon. Yep, I fight most of the overworld ones.
Yeah, me too.
How are you above 2 levels above me?
Just better get good.
Nay, you're cheating.
Get good, Joshua.
Something going on with that Mr. Kincaid. You got some kind of back-end deal.
You want to do quest check real quick while we're at it too?
Yeah, I guess I talked about that a little bit.
So far at this point in the game, there's been 32 quests made available to us. I have done 32 of 32.
I'm at 32 this time.
I'm worried, Joshua, that it's making the game too easy.
Yeah, we are going... I'm thinking about banking some of them for later and maybe just doing the main quests this time, because they don't go away.
They don't go away, and they don't contribute to the story in any significant way either.
Right. Because now in this leg, we started getting level 2 resistance. So now you could take off like 6 damage from certain types.
Right. Which is like, it's OP.
Yeah. It does change based on like how hard the quest is, because the Drifblim's moving service one gets you a Power Plus capture card. Like, they're not all resistances, so...
Right. Some of them just, like, up your power or up your, like, total
Yeah, they'll make
HP
the Styler deal more damage. They'll give you more HP. Like, it's getting a little out of hand. I will say, this is the first time I didn't die at all.
I continued to not die.
Yeah.
Some of the quests are so complex. We talked about this earlier where it's like you have to collect 3 drift blooms to help this like old couple move.
Right.
And then some are like painfully simple. There's some where it's like you run into a guy in Boyleland Volcano who's like, I can't believe I think I spotted a snover in the volcano.
Right.
Can you go check it out? And then you go into like the next screen and it like cuts to like a little cutscene.
Yeah, it just moves the camera.
Here's the snover. And it's like a very basic Torkoal puzzle where you just have to ride a Torkoal to get to this snover and capture the snover. And then it becomes like one of your partner Pokemon.
Yeah. And then
sometimes they're like a breeze.
Right.
And sometimes they're like the most complicated side quest in the world.
Yeah. And you just never know what you get because some of them are like, melt these blocks, but like you need Growliths and Rapidash to do it. And you have to go to these different regions, just like that Driftblim one. And so you kind of, if you want to do all of them, you have to just go into it not knowing what you're going to get. But so I think that's why we're getting OP and also it's taking forever.
You said you got a new partner Pokemon though. I'm starting to figure out the partner Pokemon system, and I'm starting to figure out that you do not want to keep the same partner Pokemon throughout the game.
Right.
So who's your new partner?
I had Cranidos for a lot of it, but I got a young Shieldon at one point.
Bazinga.
And young Shieldon came with me for a bit. I think I cleared Almia Castle with that one because it's kind of similar, but it's a better version of Cranidos's, which is the gravel flick, and it just does a bunch of damage quickly. But Shieldon's is a steel one where you're basically like flicking like little steel orbs, and they will make the Pokemon stop, like stop moving. Bazinga every time. So that was very useful, and I had Shieldon for most of it, but then you just mentioned the Snover quest, which was the last thing I did right before the final mission that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So I have a historical affinity for Snover and Abomasnow. So I was like, I'll take that Snover. Yeah. And it's good. It's got snowballs.
Grass,
it's like
ice
move. And so it flicks them and then it makes them pause. But you can like, if you flick them enough, they'll like get encased in ice, and then you can circle them quickly and then start recharging the styler and then flick more snowballs because you get like 30 seconds or something crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, and the type matchups are still relevant here. Like Snover is good.
That's the main thing to pay attention to now.
You get a little indicator to tell you when your type matchups are favorable or disfavorable.
Right.
But yeah, so you're a Snover man now.
For now, at least. But yeah. How about you?
I am too. I caught the Snover, and I feel like I'm gonna stick with the Snover for the upcoming desert area that we're about to go into because I feel like it's gonna be a lot of ground type Pokemon. Yeah, and Snover is at least part plant type or grass type, right?
Yeah, but ice will be good against them too. Its Poke Assist is only ice, I think, for now at least. But I don't think they change.
For a big chunk of this game, I was sticking with Toxicroak because I just like Toxicroaks like little poison puddles. But once I headed to the Boyleland Volcano, we do get access at one point via a quest to Piplup.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, Piplup's my guy. And Piplup was clutch throughout Boyleland Volcano.
What does it do? Like bubble
It's just got some water. Yeah, you make a big bubble and you fling the bubble at bad Pokemon.
Yeah,
it was crucial. It was so helpful. It was easily the most helpful partner Pokemon I had, Poke Assist Pokemon I had throughout this whole section. So Piplup was super useful, but now I'm a Snover man at least through this upcoming desert section. I did at one point. The Elder of Boyleland Village insists that you save his Mime Jr. and then the Mime Jr. takes to you, and the Mime Jr. wants to be your partner Pokemon. So at some point, out of just like a sense of obligation, I had Mime Jr. as my partner Pokemon, but Mime Jr. sucks.
I sent him to the farm. Just
at you're on Boyleland Volcano and you send Mime Jr. to the farm, and like it's an island, and the like ship captain comes up to you and is like, "The Mime Jr. tried to swim to your home at Chickle Farm."
Mime Jr.'s a freak.
And you're like, I didn't tell him to do that. He's like, you're an irresponsible Pokemon ranger.
Never heard from any of them ever again. Don't know what happened to that boat. Yeah.
I didn't ask for this.
I'm not going on trial for this Mime Junior.
Yeah. And then it's the last, or I guess the second to the last. God, what a long leg. It's the second to the last thing mission is we have to go get this red gem. It's the same thing as the blue gem. We go through the east entrance of the Boyleland Volcano. We make our way through all of the obstacles, and eventually we make our way to what's her name?
Lavana.
Lavana, who is the
she's part of the Sinus trio. So there's a new trio,
a new moniker.
Yeah, and
Ice, who we previously encountered, and Lavana are both parts of this.
Super subtle names.
Yeah.
She's the fire one, and he was the ice one.
She is pretty. You make pretty quick work of her. Or at least I did.
Oh yeah, I couldn't even tell you what she had.
I'm literally I'm failing to remember what.
Oh, she's got Monfernos.
Yes, so you do fight a couple.
She's got
of
an
Infernape.
Yeah.
So you do fight a couple of Monfernos, and then she's got an Infernape.
Yes.
That you battle, but it's a pretty easy.
I had 2 Rhydons and an Aggron going into this, and their Poke Assists are so OP in this area because it's essentially Earthquake, where you just
oh my god, what a beautiful Rhydon has the easiest
Rhydon
Poke
is so
Assist move
good.
where you just have to like jiggle the pen slightly on the touchscreen, and it will not
Earthquake.
just slow down the Pokemon you're attacking, but it'll also do damage to it. So I think I came in here with 2 Raichus and 3 Rhydons, and was just like, it was the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, and then after you wipe the floor with them, and then you have to go and do the final Gem Guardian battle.
Right.
I stocked up on all of them again. So I went into the little like Guardian, the Gem Shrine room,
right.
And you do have to run through a bunch of like flaming corridor again, but then you get into the main room and the gem is there, and then a Heatran comes out.
Right.
And
Heatran was also incredibly easy.
Yeah, but that was because
of the Rhydons.
I had so many of these Mons stacked. Plus, at the time, I was still I had Cranidos again, and the little gravel flick was super effective, even though it doesn't pause them or anything, but it's super effective. And so Heatran's main thing, which was super annoying, is that it just makes like lava bursts all over the screen,
pyres of flame.
But once it starts doing that, especially in its last third of its hit points, I just sit there and flick little gravel at it.
Yeah, or just shake your screen with the Rhydons.
Right. Well, yeah.
They're way too over.
Yeah, if
OP.
you know, it's all about the friend Pokemon. Just collect the ones that you can tell are going to be the best based on, the type matchups. And then at this point, that Heatran basically just hands the red gem over to you.
Yeah. So then you've got the red gem. We should say that in the course of all of this, we've deciphered the journal and we've discovered something called Operation Brighton, I want to say.
I think that's it, yeah. Alltrue's slogan happens to be a bright future for all of Almia.
Right, and also the guy who runs Alltrue is called Brighton.
Oh, right. The author of the diary's name was Brighton Hall.
Right, who's the guy who started Alltrue.
Yeah,
and
the current president is
continued
Blake Hall.
Alltrue, and then there's like a third guy who's like the grandson.
Yeah.
So all signs are pointing to Alltrue being the financiers behind Dim Sun, but
we just need one more
now we've gotten
piece
the
of
red
evidence.
gem. Our next mission is to go and claim the yellow gem. We have a little bit of to-do around getting to the desert that the yellow gem is contained in. Keith is already there. He's asked for a little bit of help. En route to get there, we encounter
a bit of a problem.
Boat problems.
Yeah.
And we have to go back underwater for some underwater puzzling. We'll breeze through this because it's like a diversion. More than anything.
Yeah, and compared to all those other things that we covered, bug catchers, I mean, the Almia Castle and everything leading up to it was like 2 hours, and then I'd say like the East Volcano was like an hour, and then this was like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah,
a half hour at the most. So I was like, yes.
It's a Dim Sun scheme where they have captured a Wailord because we have destroyed their ship. So now they need a new ship And their plan is just to use a Wailord as a ship, which is very
innovative
Jonah.
in one way, but it's sort of
very Geppetto.
Yeah.
To live inside of a whale.
It sounds pretty unpleasant. If I were part of Dim Sun, that's probably where I draw the line. And I think that's why you're starting to see a lot of defectors. And there's a lot of people asking
And I had a new
questions about
segment this week that I wasn't going to introduce, but now I'm going to introduce it. And it's called Sympathy for the Dim Sum. And then we're going to have to get Matt Schultz to make us some if he can do like an 8-bit Rolling Stone Sympathy for the Devil kind of thing, that would be great.
My favorite Stone song also.
They really want us to sympathize with these Dim Sum characters. At first, like, it happened with Ollie at the very beginning of the game.
Right.
But you encounter a few, like, pathetic sad saps. You encounter the guy in the Altru, like, ruins who you went to school with, who's like, I hate Dim Sum, and I'm just hiding out here.
That sucked.
At some point, you get a quest to go, like, save a Dim Sum guy who got left behind in the secret harbor in Boyleland Volcano. And then he becomes, like, he, like, reforms and becomes, like, the fishing guru of Boyleland Volcano.
Yeah, and everybody loves him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's, like, a nice dude now. And then down here in the underwater, when you're trying to save this Wailord, you encounter a guy who is manning one of these, like, capture pylons that are being used to, like, hold this Wailord in place.
Right.
And he's like, oh, you don't remember me, but you actually drove me off of the cargo ship, and they saw what a good swimmer I was and reassigned me to the Marine unit, and now I'm here, and I fucking hate it. And then,
so I'm
like,
going to try to kill you.
Defeat him, and he's like, okay, I'm out of here. So they really want you to have a lot of sympathy for all these, like, Dim Sum.
It's fun that we actually liberate them, and I'm starting to feel the sympathy for the Dim Sum.
Yeah.
We'll liberate them.
So then there's these 4 pylons that are kind of holding this Wailord in place, and you just have to use what's that ugly eel Pokemon called? Huntail. You have to use Huntails to destroy all the pylons.
I will say I did take a video of this that I'll put up because the Huntail I think was the most satisfying. We've talked about these animations of when the Pokemon uses its like ability in the overworld. The Huntail one is so satisfying because it will just take a chomp out of like this big, like, it's called a capture machine.
It looks like the Tesla coil from Command and Conquer Red Alert.
Oh yes, I love that Command and Conquer is getting another reference. It just chomps it, and then the capture machine breaks in half, and then the like Wailord's free, and you do it 4 times, and it's so fun.
The Wailord looks so good in this game. The Wailord is enormous.
Before you go too far, Wailord is Joshy's sweetie.
Of course. God, why wouldn't it be? It looks good. It's huge. It's
giant. You can't even see the whole thing on one screen.
It's off the screen. Yeah. You just see its little like, silly face.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite aspects. I mean, like, Wailord is always just, like, casually, just miniature.
I mean, even Wailmer.
In the main games?
Even in this part, there's a Wailmer that's, like, lamenting the capture of its, I assume, parent Wailord.
Right.
And even the Wailmer is huge. Like it's
still like,
it's like
the
twice the size of your character.
4 to 6 people on the screen, and Wailord is 47 feet 7 inches,
and it uses every bit of it.
Yeah, and it's like finally, and like I just think Wailord that it's a sweet face. It's an innocent face.
I agree. It looks good.
Yeah, it's like a whale shark where it's like a very benevolent giant beast, and I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we freed it.
Team Dim Sum makes off. They realize that their plot to capture this Wailord is foiled, so they decide to capture the Wailmer instead. They run off to their secret oil.
Oh yeah, the like oil rig hideout is where we end up.
And Wailord goes chasing after them, and we get sort of swept up in the Wailord.
Oh yeah, we ride on its back, which was fun too.
Yep.
That was a nice animation.
That is where we'll pick up next week with the final leg of this journey. Bug Catchers is on Team Dim Sum's oil rig. But what a leg, what a journey we've been on. What a fun game.
Gucci mama.
I am still like it is not. I said this to you earlier via text message. It's not challenging anymore. I'm way too overleveled, but it is still fun. Like I don't dislike playing it.
Yeah, I think I might delay at least some of the quests. I would like to get 100% if that's going to be possible, but there are still, I think, 60 total, and we have 28 left, so
yeah,
that's a lot.
But I'll still say, like, we've said this every week so far, and I'll say it for the third week running, like, pick up the game. It's fun.
It's very fun.
It's a fun, cute little diversion, especially if you like sort of like JRPG style like stories. I mean, the story is like as weird and convoluted as like any other Pokemon game, but it just sort of works a little bit better here because like it feels like a JRPG. The mechanics, the twirling, the like circling is unlike anything else, you know?
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't exist outside of like Yokai Watch games, but like or like WarioWare, you know?
Right.
But it just I don't know.
The environments are vibrant, like the characters are funny. They all have something weird to say. Like you could tell they had fun making this. And but they gave a proper due to like what the size of the Pokemon should be and like what they would do in the overworld, and I really appreciate that.
So we'll be back to beat the game next week.
Yeah, one way or another.
One way or another. It took us 2 weeks. Josh was off last week, and still, like, we both brought it down to the wire this week.
Yeah, I beat it earlier today.
So we'll see what happens. And then from here, we're gonna go on to play something else. We're gonna. By the time you hear this, there is a active poll on our Twitter to see where we go because Arceus, Pokemon Legends Arceus.
That's what they call it, apparently.
Is right on the horizon, and we're sort of trying to figure out whether or not we want to play that or just kind of parlay into Black and White 2 as per the schedule. So help us make that decision if you can. That's the leg this week. This is Pokemon. This is Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast. Do rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, and do follow the show anywhere that you follow podcasts.
Rate it on Spotify now, too. That's our new thing.
Now you can rate things on Spotify.
Rate it on Spotify.
Rate it well on Spotify.
Give it a 5, because they don't even have reviews, so just give it a straight up 5.
Yeah, please do that.
And give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at EXPSharePod.
Yep, and Check Reddit.
Yeah.
Reddit.com/r/bugcatchers. Where Mike Levine, friend of the show, is moderating and helping usher all of you through the Bugcatcher Reddit experience.
Yeah, and calls us out on Harry Potter trivia, apparently.
Well,
calls one of us
out.
At least calls one of us out on things. And if you want to support the show by getting some merch, you can do that at expsharemerch.com.
Yep.
Or go to tpublic.com and search for us. And we're on
That's the show. Joshua, Bug Catchers, Bug Rangers.
Bug Rangers.
Thank you for joining me this week. Goodbye.
Smell you later. How about this segue? On the way to become top Rangers, when Chairperson Irma calls us out.
Good catch.
Yeah, well, go ahead and delete the part where I start saying chairman. I don't want that.
I won't.
You have to.
So I'll stay in.
I'll go back in there and I'll delete it.